Welcome back to Court TV Live. I'm Julie Grant. That was Brendan Mitchell, Chauvin juror number 52, describing what it was like for him being on the case, watching and, of course, rewatching the videos of George Floyd's final moments during the trial. Now, Mitchell was the 6th juror to be chosen in this case. He's a black man in his 30s who works at a bank and also coaches youth sports. And when he was asked about the Black Lives Matter movement, this is what he had to say.
You were asked a couple of questions about both the Black Lives Matter movement and the Blue Lives Matter movement. You indicated that you have a very favorable impression of the Black Lives Matter movement, and you wrote, "Black lives just want to be treated as equals and not killed or treated in an aggressive manner simply because they're black." Can you just explain that a little bit more?
Explain my answer?
Yes.
Could you repeat what you explain?
Sure. What you wrote is, "Black lives just want to be treated as equals and not killed or treated in an aggressive manner simply because they are black."
Okay.
So, I mean, I guess I'm asking is, I understand that your perception of the Black Lives Matter organization is favorable, but
Can I pause you? I don't know Black Lives Matter as an organization.
Okay.
I don't know it as an organization. So maybe that's. I mean, I don't know if that's how the question said. I don't know if it said Black Lives Matter organization. I don't view it as that. So I don't. Okay. That's not how I subscribe to that.
So I think it's been in previous jurors. It's been sort of somewhat described as a movement on one hand and organization.
I don't think of it as either. I just think of it as a statement.
Okay, fair enough.
All right, now Brendan Mitchell is back in the news this morning after a photo of him from the March on Washington last summer has resurfaced, showing him wearing a T-shirt that said, "Get your knee off our necks, BLM." All right, so I want to bring in now Court TV legal correspondent Chanley Painter to talk to us more about this. So Chanley, could we start first with what we know about Mr. Mitchell when he was in Washington, D.C.? What all do we know about what he did there and his participation in the march, please?
Yeah, he says that he was there in August of last year to attend the 57th anniversary of Dr. Martin Luther King's speech, "I Have a Dream" speech, and he was there. It was kind of a voter, get out the vote march type rally for the anniversary of that. And he is photographed in a picture, like you said, with his two cousins wearing a shirt with King on the T-shirt. It says, "Get your knee off our necks," and BLM for Black Lives Matters. This has been circulating on social media since he has spoken out after being a juror at the trial. We do know that at this rally, the family of George Floyd, his brother and sister spoke during the rally in Washington, D.C., as well as other family members who've lost loved ones to police brutality. And Mitchell has acknowledged that he was there during this event and that his uncle was the one that actually posted the photo online, but Mitchell says he really doesn't recall wearing or owning that shirt, but he's told the media outlets that he was there just to be a part of this voter registration rally, and it was not a protest, is what he said. He says it was 100% not a march for George Floyd, and that he was an unbiased juror, Julie. So this is interesting. This is something that I'm sure possibly could lead to more motions from Eric Nelson and maybe contesting this or the veracity of his jury selection process and how he was as a juror in the trial.
Oh, yeah, you're absolutely right, Chanley. I think we can probably expect that from Eric Nelson, that he may try to make a perjury argument here, perhaps because of what was said on that form, which is actually what I wanted to ask you about next. Talk to us, please, about, remember the questionnaire that was sent out back in December to the pool of prospective jurors, and they were turned in prior to the in-person voir dire. What exactly was the question? What did he write, please? And could we talk about how that question was constructed?
Yeah, there is a question. It's question number 7 of the questionnaire that all the potential jurors filled out in the case, and he answered no to this particular question. And it essentially said, did you or someone close to you participate in any of the demonstrations or marches against police brutality that took place in Minneapolis after George Floyd's death? Check yes, or someone close to me. And then it said, if you participated, explain how much you were involved. And if you participated, did you carry a sign, and what did it say? So we know that based on his questionnaire, he did answer no to those, and he's definitely trying to separate the Washington March to anything that was for George Floyd, that this was directly an MLK march, according to Mitchell, and it was not there. He was not there protesting the death of George Floyd in any way like that. So it's interesting that the wording of the question, it does say in Minneapolis, Julie, and doesn't say anywhere else. So if you want to get kind of specific with it, maybe it was a truthful answer here. Maybe it was a job more of attorneys during the actual in-person questioning to pick out those other things that may have been elsewhere. So according to this, in Minneapolis, no, it was in Washington, D.C.
Right. So by the reading of that question strictly, he answered it accurately. So this is really dicey. You know, maybe they should have thought to ask about protests elsewhere, because we know there were so many all over the country. Hindsight's 20/20, but wow, I still expect, as you said, this is going to be an issue. I think the defense is going to try to do something with it, but I'm glad we could take a look at the particular question. Chandler, thank you so much for all of that. I want to bring in now criminal defense attorney Mark Bagno. Mark also practices civil rights law. Mark, great to see you. Thank you for coming on the program. Okay, really want to tap into your criminal defense experience with this one. I would guess that Eric Nelson, the attorney who represents Derek Chauvin, is going to try to do something with this, with the answering of the question, and then also with the surfacing of the photograph, and try to file something or attach something to his appeal that we know he's got to be working on, ready to file once Derek Chauvin's sentenced. Walk us through, please, how you think he may make those arguments, and if you think they may be viable ones, please.
Sure. Good morning, Julie. Thank you for having me on. I think you're absolutely right that this is going to become a part of the appeal. I think that this is probably the beginning of what we're going to see. You know, we didn't know the identities of the jurors during the trial. As we find out about jurors, I imagine that we're going to see Mr. Nelson doing a lot of research into each of the jurors to see what he can tease out, because we know that a big issue of jury selection and prior to and during the trial was the amount of publicity that was going on here. And a big part of the appeal is obviously going to be whether some of these jurors had any biases or prejudices that they brought into the courtroom that could have prejudiced them during the case. As far as the strength of that, we'll see how much Mr. Nelson is able to put together. Is it just going to be this one juror? Will there be more jurors? How much will he be able to flesh out? But I also want to kind of note, just generally speaking, that it's hard to get a conviction, right? It's designed to be kind of hard to get a conviction where, proof beyond a reasonable doubt, there's an entire trial, you've got to prove guilt to the jury. But once somebody's convicted, that presumption in our system flips. And so it's also very difficult to get a reversal once there has been a conviction. And so, we see some evidence here of a juror who may or may not have had some bias that wasn't fully analyzed at the outset. But Eric Nelson really has his work cut out if he wants to be able to pull a lot of this together to show that all of these things that were going on are enough to say that the trial was intrinsically unfair, and that the result is that we need to redo the entire trial.